What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's happening with other factors involved in the market, so what you should be watching for as time goes on. But before I break these levels of information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. And the offer ends very soon, in just about 1 day from now. Anyways, when it comes to the market, I just want to say that right now we have a very interesting setup on SPY. SPY gapped down quite a bit going into the pre-market, and we have this gap to fill all the way up that takes us to about 547. Now, if we start pushing up higher and we try to get back above, this support, which is now going to become resistance at 545.8. I think there's a good chance we could actually try to come up to fill this gap before we do anything else. So I'll be watching to see how this ends up moving. But just because we come back up to fill this gap, it does not mean we're back to bullish. It could just be a temporary pop, and then a drop could be coming after that. So don't forget, we have lots of options expiring. We have over 3.5 million puts expiring and over 1 million calls expiring. So we'll be watching to see what this causes in the markets. We have a lot of options expirations, but I want to talk about something else that's going to be very important. Today is Friday, June 21st at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Composites Manufacturing and Services PMI report. This is going to be very important for these different sectors, giving us a good understanding of how strong our economy is looking. And that's going to be very key for the market. So we're going to be expecting some very high volatility at this time. And I can't wait to see what this leads to, at least for us moving forward. So that's going to be pivotal, at least for now. I wanted to just kind of talk about that and how it's going to affect the markets. For other pieces of news, the S&P 500 briefly passed 5,500 before seeing a little pullback. There's also some talk about how ChatGPT has a lot more, basically, competitors that are coming out from these different companies. We have the Claude 3.5 that's also coming out, so that's something that's worth noting. ChatGPT has more competitors. There's been a lot of talk as well about how there's been a new shots to help prevent certain infections. It has a 100% effective state right now. It's also in a trial, so we'll have to see how this goes during this, but this could be very useful. I can't wait to see how that ends up developing. But that's pretty much it, at least for now, in terms of the main headlines. As far as Tesla goes, I'm seeing some news about analysts telling us to be a little cautious with Tesla. And then there's also talk about Tesla trying to ramp up its production for the Tesla semis. But that's pretty much it. What do I see for SPY? What's my honest opinion? I think it's trying to kind of pop a little bit. We did gap down quite a bit. We'll see if SPY can try to make its way up to about 546 or so. Watch and see if we get back above 545.8. If we do so, we could make an attempt to fill this gap. So we'll see if it happens before or after this, S&P Global Composite PMI reports. So expect some high volatility when it comes out. We will see if we come up to fill this gap, then we reject and come back down. I'll be watching for that very carefully. Or if we come short, it's also possible we come close to 546 and then we reject. So I'll be watching. That's why I said to watch and see if we can kind of hold above that resistance. So if we break 545.8, that's going to be a sign of strength. We could try to fill this gap and then come back down. If we fail to do that, if we don't get all the way up there, we just kind of reject here. Watch 544 is critical support. If we lose this, we're dipping all the way down to the 542s. My gut is telling me, okay, we're trying to see some defense being played here by the bulls. They're trying to push us up a little bit higher. There's a good chance SPY will attempt to do so, but watch resistance. We'll just have to see how it goes. For Nvda, I just wanted to say we also have some very, very critical levels which are worth noting. Uh, as you guys know, we basically pumped all the way up to that 140 area, and then we saw a big rejection. Nvidia has been falling ever since, and we're currently at 127. So we're going to see if this thing can try to rebound a bit and try to get close to about 130. If we fail to hold 130, look for a dip all the way down to 125 and 122. If we break 130, we could try to see 134. So make sure you watch for that test. We could get very close to 130 and see if we get a rejection or not. For Bitcoin's on a bit of a downtrend right over here. We're actually continuing to fall. And I think that if we end up losing this support, we'll be looking at 62,500. We also have this resistance around 64,000, but I'm seeing a little bit of a downtrend being respected right now in Bitcoin. And there's going to be a risk of more downside, in my personal opinion. For other factors, I just want to say that for Tesla's kind of range bound right now. We actually have this support at 180 and resistance around 181 or close to 182, basically. I think Tesla's going to just range trade for now. Look for a little push upon open. It might try to push up higher, which is 183. If this breaks, look for 185. If we end up losing 180, look for a dip. But I think that's a dip all the way down to 177, by the way. But I think we're not going to dip immediately. I think we're going to try to push up a little higher first upon open, and we'll see how we end up reacting to these EMAs. So look for an attempt to get back up for Tesla and some sideways price action for now, and we'll see how it goes. For the QQQ, we're trying to rebound a bit. I'm going to be looking for a test of 482.5, maybe a little bit higher, but then we could be establishing a lower high. We could just kind of like pop a little bit, then eventually start dropping lower later on. So I'll be watching to see if we establish a lower high, if the structure is still showing bearish momentum. For Aapl, we're trying to break out a bit higher, but I'll be watching basically 212.5 as resistance. If we do break that, we could get very close to almost 214. If we fail to do so, we're going to be looking for a big rejection. My guts is telling me that Aapl could be downtrending. We could try to pop a little higher, then eventually reject and come back down lower. So I'll be watching for that very carefully. For a few more tickers, we have Amazon. Amazon's actually on a nice uptrend right here, forming a nice cup. It's going to try to push up to about 187.5 to 188. Could be forming a cup, and then we'll look for and see if a handle kind of forms. But so far, it's a little more bullish overall. For Meta, we're trading sideways. We have resistance around 502. We have support at 500 and 496. We could be looking for a push a little higher towards 502 to fill this gap, then a move back down. But overall, we're just kind of trading sideways in this range. For Microsoft is also making some interesting moves. It's trying to kind of push right over here. I'll be looking for 448. If that breaks, we could go all the way up to 448.5. But watch to see if we get a rejection or not. That's going to be pivotal for how we end up moving. For Google, we're trying to rebound as well. We have 178 as resistance. If this breaks, we'll be going all the way up towards 179. But I don't really expect anything too crazy from there. We could try to get a little bit higher to 179, and then we'll see how it reacts. If we could get all the way up to 180 and break that, we could turn back to bullish, be close above that. If we end up failing, if we kind of pop and then drop back down to 176, if we lose that, we turn bearish as we have a head and shoulders on Google. So just be kind of careful with this, at least moving forward. GME and AMC are just kind of trading flat right now. I want to see GameStop break 27 to turn back to bullish. Otherwise, it's just kind of trading sideways. Same thing with AMC. It's just kind of trading sideways within a range. Coinbase, on the other hand, is looking more bearish. If we don't reclaim 230, we'll be dipping all the way down to about 222. If we reclaim 230, we could bounce. Otherwise, we're just more bearish looking. All right, guys, that is it for the video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and then do not forget about my warning that at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, expect some very, very high volatility. This is in about 25 minutes from now, or 15 minutes after the market ends up opening. So 15 minutes after market opening, wait for this data, and we'll see if this leads to for the market going forward. All right, so thank you for listening. Once again, have a great day, guys. Make sure you guys remember to breathe, take some deep breaths, and then don't forget that the market is about to make some crazy moves, so get ready. We have a lot of options expirations, so it's going to be kind of crazy. So just get ready and do what you have to do, guys. I'll see you guys very soon in just a few hours. Thank you. Peace out.